This lecture is about binding energy per nucleon and stability. Binding energy per nucleon is the total binding energy of an atom divided by the number of nucleons in the atom. We care about it because useful patterns appear in the binding energy per nucleon of different atoms. The equation is very simple. To find the binding energy per nucleon, you just divide the binding energy by the number of nucleons. And if you rearrange that equation, you can see that the number of nucleons times the binding energy per nucleon is equal to the total binding energy of the atom. I explained how to find the binding energy in a previous lecture that I've linked in the description. I'll do two example problems where I find the binding energy per nucleon for these two atoms. So I can see I'm given the actual mass, and I remember from this previous video, to find the binding energy, I find the mass defect. And when I identify that mass defect, I determine how much energy is contained inside of it. These are the total binding energies of each atom. So to find the binding energy per nucleon, I literally just divide the binding energy by the number of nucleons. So I find that uranium-235 has 7.391 mega-electron volts per nucleon, and iron-56 has 8.554 mega-electron volts per nucleon. Binding energy per nucleon is usually measured in mega-electron volts per nucleon. We say that a nucleus is more stable when it has more binding energy per nucleon. This is because more energy is required to remove any single nucleon from the nucleus. So as an example, if we compare uranium-235 and iron-56, uranium-235 is going to have more binding energy than iron. But if we compare the binding energy per nucleon, we can see based on the answers I got on the bottom right, that iron actually has more binding energy per nucleon than uranium. So even though uranium has more binding energy in total, iron has more binding energy per nucleon. Each individual nucleon gets a larger share of the binding energy, and so we would actually say that iron is more stable than uranium, even though uranium has more binding energy. Because stability does not just depend on the total binding energy, it depends on what share of that binding energy each individual nucleon has. Each individual nucleon of iron requires more energy to remove it from the nucleus, so therefore iron is more stable than uranium. It's less likely for nucleons to be removed. Graphs of binding energy per nucleon versus number of nucleons are a very common tool that we use in nuclear physics to understand a few important patterns about stability and nuclear fission and fusion. The graph shows the binding energy per nucleon of an atom on the y-axis and the number of nucleons in the atom on the x-axis. I have four elements here: helium, lithium, beryllium, and boron, with 4, 6, 8, and 10 nucleons respectively. And if I went through the same process of finding the binding energy per nucleon as I did in the beginning of this video, these are the binding energies that I would find for each specific element. If I were to place these on the graph, it would look something like this. Helium would go here because it has 4 nucleons and 7.1 mega-electron volts per nucleon. And then lithium would go here, beryllium would go here, and boron would go here. And these values are fixed. All atoms of the same element and isotope will have about the same binding energy per nucleon. So this graph is telling me where all atoms of that element and isotope appear on the binding energy per nucleon per number of nucleons graph. If I expand this graph to include all elements, this is the general shape that appears. Understanding this shape is going to be really important going forward. One important thing I want you to notice is that the binding energy per nucleon generally increases as you go up the number of nucleons until you get to iron-56, Fe56 specifically. Iron has the very most binding energy per nucleon of any element, so we say it is the most stable element. Remember, the more binding energy per nucleon an element has, the more stable it is. And I can see that after iron, the binding energy per nucleon begins to drop off, and elements actually get more and more unstable. I can see that uranium-235 and 238 at the very end are actually relatively unstable compared to iron. IB questions about this graph usually simplify it into a shape like this. So instead of that complex jagged structure, it's just a simple curve that looks like this. So this is how it usually appears in IB tests and textbooks. There are going to be some important facts that you'll need to know about this graph. First of all, the higher on the y-axis an element is, the more binding energy it has, so the more stable it is. And the most stable element is iron-56, so it's at the very, very top of the graph. The x-axis measures the number of nucleons in the element, and the y-axis measures the binding energy per nucleon. There are additional facts about fission and fusion, but this lecture doesn't cover those specifically. That's going to be in the next lecture, which I've linked in the description. One last thing to note about binding energy per nucleon is that a common IB question has this form. If this is the average binding energy per nucleon of element X, what is the total energy required to completely separate all the element's nucleons? Remember from the binding energy lecture that the total energy required to completely separate all nucleons in an atom is the binding energy of the atom. So to solve these problems, you're just going to multiply the binding energy per nucleon by the number of nucleons to get the total binding energy. So as an example, the average binding energy per nucleon of the oxygen-15 nucleus is 7.5 megaelectron volts. What is the total energy required to separate the nucleons of one nucleus of oxygen-15? So we know this is the binding energy per nucleon, so I would just multiply that by the number of nucleons. Because this is telling me that the average nucleon has 7.5 megaelectron volts, so the total energy will just be 7.5 megaelectron volts times 15. So that gets me 113 megaelectron volts, so that would be the total energy required to separate the nucleons of one nucleus of oxygen-15. So that's the basics of what you need to know about binding energy per nucleon and stability. In the next lecture, we're going to talk about how this is connected to fission and fusion.